Welcome to Medieval Iberia Now with your host Jaylen Asher and Broderick Kaywood.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Broderick.
I'm Jaylen.
We're going to tell you about the Muwallad.
And the Mozarabs.
So, Jaylen, who are the Mozarabs?
Well, they were the Christians living in Muslim-controlled Iberia, known as Al-Andalus. That's about it, really.
The Mozarabs are second-generation Muslims of people from Visigoth descent. These people were their children from previously being conquered by the Arabs from Arabia, and their parents were converts into becoming Muslim.
Yeah. Okay. So these two groups are really similar in some respects. The main difference being that different faiths, of course.
Yeah.
They're both marginalized groups within Al-Andalus. The Christians have to pay tax for their religion. Muwallads can't hold offices like Arabs can.
Yeah.
Yeah. The main thing, though, is Mozarabs are pretty distinctly influenced by Arabic culture.
Yeah.
For better or worse, some of the theologians of the time did not really like this. There was the whole martyr movement pioneered by Eulogius.
Yeah.
Then you had people like Paul Avaris, who, let me find the page, talks about Muslim influence on Mozarabs and how it's kind of a detriment. Yeah, here it is. He says, and I'm going to use my Paul Avaris voice for this, "Alas, Christians do not know their own law, and Latins do not use their own tongue. So that in all the college of Christ there will hardly be found one man in 1,000 who can send correct letters of greeting to a brother." He also states that, "Do not all the Christian youth, handsome in appearance, fluent of tongue, conspicuous in their dress and action, distinguished for the knowledge of Gentile law, highly regarded for their ability to speak Arabic?"
What?
Yeah, so basically the Alvarez fella, he's basically like, Mozarabs, what the hell? He's like, Christians, what's happening? You don't know Latin anymore? You're speaking Arabic? Like, you know more about Islam than you know about Christianity? It's like, this is written only a generation or so after the initial Muslim conquest of 711. He wrote in 861. So it's pretty interesting to see, like, he's already noticing a distinct cultural shift from the Christians of the area.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they chose to, like, adopt, Arabic styles of doing things. They didn't adopt Arabic on purpose. It's what they grew up with. Yeah, that's about it, basically, for him.
The Muwallad definitely became more prominent in Al-Andalus when a man by the name Ibn Hafsun came around. He himself was also a Muwallad, but he wasn't necessarily a very good guy. He murdered somebody in Spain and retreated into northern Africa. He stayed in Morocco for a while, and then he came back into Spain. He joined a band of brigands, and with these brigands, he became the leader of the brigands. And with the brigands, he brought together Muwallad and Mozarabs alike and put them together so that they could fight against the Umayyad Caliphate.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. So I guess like two marginalized groups coming together, they're both mad at the system of power and they just fight against it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, because I guess they both had their own beef with the Umayyad Caliphate.
They did. Their total message bringing them together was to get rid of this like blurred line of just like racism and like inequalities of the people.
Yeah.
Like, if you weren't Arabic, you were seen lesser because, you're not them. They wanted you to be like them. You want to be like Muslim and Arabic.
So I guess they fought for like social mobility of a sort. Because I guess all like the higher positions of power were reserved for Arabic people.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. There's also the case of the Mozarabs being heavily influenced by Arabic people in their art. There's art by St. Luke called the Beatus Apocalypse. I don't have it on me, but I'm going to edit it into the video. Basically it shows what I believe to be like, it's two men, but it's drawn in a very distinctly Arabic style, I feel. And I'm going to compare it to two Arabic art pieces from the same period. Yeah. It's just like, there's a lot of influence creeping in from the Arabic rulers of the area.
Yeah.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Art Talk segment of our podcast. I'm your host, Jaylen Asher. And as I mentioned, we'll be talking about Mozarabic art, but rather than focusing on it in Arabic art, I want to focus rather on it and the comparisons or differences between it and European art of the time. Okay, so starting with what is Mozarabic art? A good example of that is the Beatus Apocalypse. It's from a manuscript from 975. It's Mozarabic in origin. It was made by St. Luke. It shows two men wearing what appear to be togas or some other like loose robe-like garment. They're standing beneath an archway, and on top of the archway is a pink cow. Beatus means blessed in medieval Latin, so it's Christian language, all that stuff. So it shows the Mozarabics are still retaining a Christian identity and still doing the tradition of illustrated manuscripts. Alright, and next in the Mozarabic art is the Apocalypse 9, which portrays two tanned men riding on what appear to be fantastical mounts. The cool thing here is there's, in the top left corner and the bottom, there appears to be a whole, crowd of dead people with red marks on their face. I believe the red marks to be showing pock marks from, a disease or a plague or something of the sort. And next for the European art, we have the Moralia, which portrays a light brown-haired fellow fighting a dragon while standing atop a person. I believe the man on top is the knight, and the person who's standing atop is the squire. When I think of European art, this is kind of what I picture in my head, kind of. A brave knight fighting with a dragon. And lastly, for European art, we have the Christ in Majesty, which is from the 12th century. And pardon that lisp, it's Christ in Majesty. Okay, the Christ in Majesty portrays a very European-looking Jesus with light brown hair and very pale skin and rosy cheeks. He's surrounded by 4 angels on each corner, and they're just hovering around him. Alright, so what does this mean? Well, Mozarabic art and Christianity do share a root in religious motivated paintings. There's fantastical elements like dragons and these weird mounts the two men in the Mozarabic one, the Apocalypse 9, were flying on. But the differences are in how the people are portrayed. In the Mozarabic art, they seem more, they're typically tanner and they have darker hair. In the European art, they're pale skinned typically with rosy cheeks, and they have lighter hair, long hair. Also in the Mozarabic art, the eyes are a lot bigger with black pupils, and they look a lot more cartoony, if that makes sense. While the European art, the eyes are a lot smaller and drawn to look more realistic, but still, it's medieval art, so it can't really be that good. All right. That's all for Art Talk, folks. Thanks for listening. There's a lot of influence creeping in from the Arabic rulers of the area.
Yeah.
And their art, their style of doing things, etc.
With all likenesses, the Mozarabs and Muwallads did have a language in common. They spoke Andalusian Arabic, which consisted of common Arabic, Iberian languages, so that could be just whatever they spoke at the time there, and Latin. Latin was a very prominent part of the language because the original roots of the people there had already been speaking Latin. Okay, so it's like a weird Creole language of sorts.
Yeah. Okay, that's French Cajun and okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's regarding Mozarabic influenced by Arabs again. There's a refutation of Islam written by a Mozarab that is quite interesting for that very reason. Yeah, here it is. It was written in 1140 by an anonymous Mozarab. He was a priest, but he didn't go by any name. He chose the title, however, Min al-Quat, which translates to one of the Goths. Heavy dark eyeliner, hatred of parents, listening to dark metal. Actually, Visgothic heritage is what it actually means.
Yeah.
It was kind of an identifier for we're not Arabs, we're not Muslims, we're not them, we're us, we're the Goths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's interesting from this passage is how he says, when referring to Jesus, he puts in parentheses, may he be exalted and be and sublime. So the interesting thing there is that that little piece of parenthetical quote, and that's what they do that same parentheses type thing in when referring to Allah in the Quran.
Oh.
So by using that, that's kind of putting Jesus on the same level as Allah, which that's not what the Muslims believe. They believe Jesus was just a prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as a Mozarab, he's a Christian. He believes otherwise. Jesus is the Son of God and is God.
All right.
He also he starts his writing by saying, "Praise be to God who guided us to His religion and helped us with His right hand and favored us with His Son and His beloved, and extended over us His mercy, the crucified one, Jesus the Messiah, our God." Then in quotations, he further adds, "Who created the heavens and the earth and what is between them?" The cool thing there is that that quotation part, that's taken directly from the Quran. They use that to refer to Allah in the Quran. So not only is our Mozarabic man not only is he against Islam, he actually knows about it. Know thy enemy of sorts. He must be studied. Regarding Alvarez's point about how the Christians are nowadays more knowledgeable about Gentile lore.
Yeah, there's this vision of mixing cultures.
Yeah, I guess that rings true here. There's Arabic influence here. He must have read the Quran sometime in his life. He also refers to hell as Gehenna, which is the Arabic term for hell. So that shows the Arabic influence on the common vernacular. Yeah, so I found that pretty interesting, showing the influence. But there's also that distinct we're not Arabic, we're blah blah blah, we're Visigothic. Because he goes by Min al-Quat, one of the Goths, so he feels a distinct separation from the Arabic Muslim hegemony.
Yeah, Mozarabs and Muwallad alike also shared this, in their noblemen, they would have this name known as Al-Qidi, which means the Goths. So they kind of kept that heritage of understanding that, we're one of the Goths. We're not like you all, we're different. We're one of the original people who settled here.
Yeah, so I guess kind of a certain claim to heritage, a claim to these lands. The Arabs may be in power, but we're the original forefathers of Iberia.
Right.
We are okay, that's interesting.
Anything else?
That's about it. I'm going to conclude though by saying the Mozarabs were a distinct people, but they were heavily influenced by their typical Christian identity and Muslim rule. All right, that's about it.
Thanks for watching.